down here in the shop, wanted to go over a late night medic utility prep. We're going to be doing a elite conversion back to the old school, and I thought I'd start kind of sharing some of this stuff with people and see if it drums up some more interest or questions or answers questions or whatnot. Alrighty, well, what we got here is a brand new, spanking out of the box Blackhawk Medic Utility Elite. These are the ones that we love to hate because they changed them a lot. So, to get this screen accurate, we've got to spend about 5, 6, 7 hours sewing on it. And I was just going to go over the prep of one of these just so people can understand how in depth these things get. Blackhawk changed the medic vest drastically, and for Stargate customers that didn't work out so well. So we're going to go over some of that. So get rid of the tag because we don't need that. Now, this vest was drastically changed. Not only the back panel was completely switched to this Molly system. They got rid of the draw cords, which we all love, and went with this strap system. So as a costumer, these are kind of a train wreck, but we can fix it. So I'm going to go over some of that. So basically, you have to start taking the vest apart. This is something that I did one earlier, and I was like, hey, why don't I do a video and kind of show everybody. So hopefully if there's any questions, I can I'm using my tablet and my phone. I'm getting tricky here. So the phone's on Instagram and the tablet's on Facebook. So I like to watch these guys on YouTube called video influencers. And if any of you guys are got a YouTube series or anything like that, check them out. They're pretty cool. Those guys know a lot of stuff, and they pretty much quit their jobs and started YouTubing. So, but first thing, a conversion, we want to get rid of this back panel because this does us no good. I have an entire couple tubs full of these after all the conversions I've done. I've been going to count them, but I figured it'd take too long. There's probably 50 to 100 of them floating around here somewhere. I thought of trying to make barbecue aprons and turn them into some type of Stargate barbecue apron. I thought that might be fun. But so first thing we do is disconnect this big, long, ridiculous strap. I actually saved these. They work good for webbing and other things. And my magical cutter here that was not cheap, but we had these in the Navy, and they are fantastic. Memory serves, they're made in Germany. So look at that. So we want to get rid of those. You always save your scraps. You never know what you can use them for. So I cut a couple of those off, and we're good. So then we start on this ridiculous strap system they came up with. And normally what I do is I just snip off these ends so they'll come out. And we definitely can save this webbing. This webbing will get reused for adding the clips and any other trim or whatnot. So, and you just pull them out. And then you got the little elastic retainers. You can recycle these for the strap webbing. They're a tiny bit short, so they're a little tight if you're going to do that. I have a huge roll of the elastics, so I don't really worry about it, but I usually save them. I've got a drawer with like way too many of them already, but you get 6 per vest, so oh, Jen's here. Did you get your face washed? So, we got that separated. Now, do the other side. Again, we're just gonna snip these off. I don't even know how many people we got here. Oh, 7. Wow. You people have no lives if you're watching me this late at night. But thought I'd start doing this. The guy I've been watching, he's been painting a lot of Star Wars helmets. Scott Lane, I believe is his name, and he's got Lane Creative Studios, I think is his Instagram name. He's been doing live videos. I've been watching him paint Boba Fett helmets, and this guy just like runs his videos for hours and just talks to people. I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, maybe I could try that. Maybe somebody would want to watch. And I know some of my customers probably wonder how I do all this. So, alright, there we go. One useless back panel. Gone. I really want to make these into like tactical barbecue Stargate aprons or something. Just haven't come up with anything yet. So at that point, we've got the entire front separated. The old ones didn't separate at the shoulders. They were completely sewn back together. So that's something that we have to do later. So we're just prepping this one. I had 2 more vest orders come in, so I ordered these together. I did the other one earlier. We got some other orders we got to get out tomorrow, hopefully. Got some Shepherd headsets, and I got a couple Zat holsters that are getting a little overdue. I need to get out, but prepping's kind of relaxing sometimes, so we thought we'd do that. Now, this is where you can really screw up. They added these 2 buckles to the chest, and these are sewn in there pretty darn good. I've experimented with a couple ways to get these out. Honestly, the best way is just to cut them out and or burn them out. This can get a little touchy. If you're not real good with this thing, you can ruin a vest like that. And I've only done it once. But when you ruin $100 and some vest, that kind of puts a bad mark in your day. So I'm getting older, so I got this cool little magnifier so I can see. Probably gonna blind you guys, but it helps me if I can get it to play ball here. Helps me see what I'm doing. You really got to get in here, but you got to be quick on the draw. So we want to just burn that enough to get that strap out of there, but not affect the vest. Almost got it. Fortunately, their sewing's been getting a little sloppier lately, and they don't always get these sewn in here nice, so I end up having to burn a little extra off there. There's a tiny little spot you can see. Let me see here if I can fix the light. Get this out of the way. But cuts off pretty clean. As long as you can do that to both sides and not end up cutting through the vest, then you're off to a good start. Fantastic tool. If anybody's interested in one, here's the. I'm sure it's backwards, so. Yeah, it's German, I believe. But they were invaluable in the Navy. So another issue with the newer vests, these taper a lot more at the shoulders than an older style vest did. They were much wider up here. So to get a nice conversion, you basically need to remove your radio pocket, and you're going to want to drop that down a little bit. These have a little more space than the original vests in between the pockets, So by dropping this down almost down to here, this gives you a little wider area to blend with the old back panel. So basically what I do next is I take that box X stitch and I just cut her off below it, because we're not going to need any of that. But you can still see how narrow it is. So we'll end up dropping this pocket, splitting this a little bit, and hopefully trying to line things up. I have noticed that these vests vary drastically. You'll get one that's narrower than the other, you'll get one that's wider than the other. And, but we'll get a nice cut and prep. And what is she saying here? Do the hole, it's a plant through that thing. I have no idea what you're talking about, Jen. Do the hole, it's a plant through that thing. Not sure that's even English at this point. Hey Joe, you're up late. So there we go. We got that started. Got the top strap off. Now we got to get the bottom strap off. So then we can start on that side nightmare. So I don't know if anybody saw my video a couple weeks ago. I ended up pulling it down just to probably protect myself. Probably said a little too much. But I was talking with an MGM rep, and I'm hopeful that MGM and Spyglass have realized that Stargate still got some life in it. So more to come on that. Did you learn this in the Navy? Scott Bowen. Yeah, Scott, 20 some years of working on pilot's gear gives you a pretty good grasp on how to work on tactical gear in aviation. Wasn't exactly the same. The magnifying glass did. I'll have to answer that later. Damn it, you didn't say enough. It's late, so time to talk. I'll try to keep up with these comments, but it only gives me like 2 lines, so everybody kind of chat slow there and let me try to answer people as I can. I'm really concentrating right now because this is probably the most sensitive part that you can screw up the quickest. But yeah, Scott, 20 years working on pilot's gear. It's very similar to tactical gear. Plus, I was military police for a few years, so I knew my way around tac gear as well. And then when I got into Stargate costuming in 2005, back when we had HSGcommand.net, and we were pretty much running the world, things progressed pretty quickly because I knew what most of the stuff was. So, alright, so we got 2 front straps off. Now we got to start prepping these. This is probably my favorite tool, and Joe knows what these are. These are made by dermasafe.com, and they're called, in the military, they're called surgical preps. And that bad boy will do some damage. And if you don't believe me, I don't know if you can see that scar. I've only cut myself twice in like 25 years, and that one was like a year or 2 ago. I was working on a police officer's vest, and it was late at night, and I was too tired and stupid and wasn't paying attention, and it slipped. And yeah, so cut my finger pretty good. You can kind of, there you can see that scar. But yeah, I laid her open good. These things are razor sharp. So what we want to do with these straps is, these are boxed X on here, but they're layered. So what you want to do is you want to come in on the center. That'll protect your vest, but yet allow you to pull your strap off with a nice clean cut. So you get a little tension on here, and I know you guys can't see that well, but you'll get the gist of it. So So these are razor sharp, and you don't want to cut the vest, and you don't want to cut the webbing. But yeah, Scott, this is where 20 years of cutting crap apart, which we had to do often, comes in handy. So it's almost skinning a deer, as my dad would say. And you just get in here real tight and whoops, cut that one off. But at that point, then I'll show you a neat little trick after we're done with this side. But yeah, these things are brutal sharp, and you can do some serious damage if you're not paying attention. Or I need to move this light a little bit. I don't like that shining too bad. There, maybe that'll help. Trying not to blind you guys, but trying to make the video not look so crappy either. But you just come in here and, well, you cut yourself. Yeah, I cut myself good, Joe. It was bleeding like crazy. I had to go upstairs, and I'm like, Katie. My wife's like, what? And I'm like, I cut myself. She goes, well, is it bad? I said, I wouldn't be calling for you if it wasn't. But I probably should have gotten stitches, but I didn't. I cleaned it up real well, and the nerve endings were shot for months, but it slowly grew back together. Human body is amazing. But I've been lucky. I've never had any severe broken bones or dislocated my shoulder in high school, but it's about. Alrighty, so we almost got this side, and then I'm going to show you guys a sweet trick I learned in the Navy. Probably back when I was in 3rd class, I would say. So we're talking early 90s. Yikes! So, you just cut out a box stitch. Now you're going to have all this thread in here, and it's like, well, what do you do with it? Well, you take these razor blades, they're fantastic, and you just kind of scrape it. And by doing that, you'll flare up these threads that were sewn. And once you get a hold of them, well, that one didn't work out very well. When they do cooperate, it looks cool because you can pretty much pull out the entire thing at once. And of course, this one's gonna be difficult. There we go. Voila. The scraping method will release those threads pretty quick, and then you can just pull them out. That's an old trick. This one isn't cleaning up as well as the one I did earlier, so of course it's gonna make a wire out. There we go. All that. Look at that. All in one shot. Not sure where my phone is double posting. I don't know why your phone's double posting either. I haven't seen anybody on the Instagram thing. I don't even know if that thing's working right. I turned it sideways, so hopefully that works. This is kind of an experiment tonight too, so we're doing all kinds of. Alrighty, look at that. And we flip to the other side. See, and this is why you guys out there are like, well, why do these vests cost so much? Because I spend like 6 hours on them. And you got to take into account this vest new. You really don't want to pay any more than like 100, 125 bucks. That's kind of a rip off for an Elite. You'll go on eBay, you'll see them for like 140. I've seen them for 250 on eBay. It's ridiculous. I don't know how those companies even dream of selling anything, because nobody's going to buy them when they're that expensive. But I have a company I work with. They give me a wholesale price, so they're still a good $100, but I can shave off a little bit here and there. That always helps. Try to pass those savings along. But you gotta remember, you need the brand new Elite, and then you need a donor vest, and we'll get to that in a few minutes before we wrap things up. But donor vests are fortunately getting scarce. I was on eBay today looking for a couple more because my donor stock was getting low. I used to pick them up for $35-40. And you need one with that old back panel. Doesn't matter which vest it is. I'm going to try to do an official video here pretty soon on my YouTube channel for the to go over the vests themselves and to break down all the different vests and what was used and what wasn't used, what was seen, what they make, what all the different ones are. Because they're all numbered. Everybody thinks it's a size. God, if you ever sell a Blackhawk vest on eBay, please don't list it and say, oh, it's a size 26, or it's a size 8, it's a size 3. This isn't women's clothing, guys. These Blackhawk tags, I'll show you one in a minute. Blackhawk has a kind of crazy numbering system. So, like one of these, the part number is 30 Echo Victor 08 BK. You're like, well, what the hell does that mean? The 30, I'm not really sure. The EV stands for Elite Vest, because when that changed, they used to be lettered differently. The 08 is what you're looking for. The 08 means it's a medic utility. And then the BK just means it's black. Not a brain teaser there. So, if you get an old school one, we'll get a couple of tags down here in a minute and we'll go over that, but I'm going to go over it much more in depth on the YouTube video and break down all the numbers. I've been years compiling what all the numbers mean, and I still don't even, because they've merged numbers, they've gotten rid of numbers, and your 26s and 25s and cross draws and all kinds of craziness. Stephen Hall, typically military. Talking about the numbers? What are you talking about, Steven? So, let me get those threads out of there. I'll be almost done with the front prep. How's that truck running, Joe? Mine just went into Ford for a bunch of engine repairs. Too many miles. Cam phasers and timing chain. Ouch. But there we go. See, I'm pretty much can't hardly see anything. Joe says truck's running great. He's a Dodge guy. So then I'm going to take this extra webbing we have, and we're definitely going to save these. So I just cut them off just aft of the box stitches, because those are all tore up and nasty. So we want nice, clean, reusable webbing. I'm telling you, these are so worth the money. For anybody that's sat there with a lighter and burned webbing. He says, damn, that sucks. Yeah, but I did fix that exhaust manifold. I ordered some JBA headers, and while they had the entire cab off my truck to work on the motor, I had them put those on too. So hopefully, and a new water pump that was leaking, but hopefully that's all taken care of. Should be able to pick her up here any day now. Alright, look at all that nice Blackhawk webbing. So we can use these to add the clips to the shoulders or any other type things that we need to do to these. Oh, forgot one. That way it's all original looking webbing. And it just has a better look than trying to buy aftermarket stuff and try to match it. So we'll hang on to that. Jen. You talking about my truck, Jen? Alrighty. No more chest buckles. And no more webbing. Look at that. And you can't even tell there was anything there. Try to get the light just right. So we'll end up punching this and setting double aught grommets. And it'll look just like the old one. So, donor vest. This is a really old one. So, we can talk about tags a little bit here. Alright, and this is great to start out with. You can see this one's green. You ever see a green tag? The big square ones? Pretty old. The only tags prior to this was a small, I got a vest around here with, oh, hang on. My Holy Grail vest. Velcro. This is an old school. It has the old school compass pockets. This market value, you're looking $400 or $500. I've only seen 2 in like 10 years. We can make the pockets and kind of fudge them up, but to find the original compass pockets to have that Carter O'Neill look before they got new vests in the later seasons. But when I was talking about that little tag, you see, well, you see my tag, but it was nothing really up here. Back then, the tags were on the inner map pocket, and you can see that 8. It's not a size, people. That's a number. That's a part number. That means medic utility. So even though the vests that are brand new, they're going to have 8s in them as well. But this was pretty much the old school tag. It was just a little tiny Blackhawk tag. Boy, this is hard to do. Let me see here. There you go. You can kind of see that was back when they were kind of, them and Eagle Industries were all friends or one company. They're all under the conglomerate, but they're separate companies now. So the Navy SEAL guy, he sold everything off, and now the stuff's made in Indonesia or wherever, Taiwan or whatever. I think it's Indonesia. But yeah, slightly different stitching on the older ones. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's going to be really hard to see, but you see these multiple stitch lines. That'll also show you that it's a super old vest. The newer ones, they look slightly different. And after you do this long enough, you see it immediately. This is what a newer type one or more current one will look like, and you're like, wow, it looks the same. Well, it doesn't, but there's double lines in there. But then they went to the big green tag after the little one. So then they showed up here. Well, then the tag turned white. And they did that for years. Let's see if I can find a white one here. Yep. Of course, the little numbers changed and all that. But here's a white one. And they threw their phone number and everything else, got fancy. But as you can see, maybe, there's our number 8. Well, they're made, Oh, 100% polyester. Thought it told. I don't remember where these are made. I don't even think they're saying anymore. Made in Vietnam. There you go. We still haven't left. So yeah, after they went white, we saw those through most of the end of Stargate. And then recently, with the elites and the new vests, the tag got smaller again. So then it went to this miniature one that's very similar to my tags. And again, here's it, 08. So, do you have a screen use old school vest? Yeah, Joe, size 8. Not funny. The only old school, we have Vala's vest, one of hers, for my wife. It was fairly old. I don't remember which tag in it. I'd have to look, and it's like way over there. There was so many vests. And you got to understand that even SG1 running 10 years, you got to stop and think. I mean, even think about cars. You know, it may be a Ford Mustang, but if you go over a 4-year span, how many times has that car changed? And that's what people don't stop and think about. Tack gear is the same way. They're always changing and improving things. So our elites are an improvement. The only thing that the elite did was made it a little more adjustable. But most people don't know how to fit gear. So it's sloppy, and yes, Vala's was screen used. I have Vala's, Taylor's, Colonel Young's. I had Scott's, but I sold it. But I have and I also have Shepherd's. I have 4 screen used vests. And that was basically to get my hands on them, see what they did, and get to help, you know, get those mods just right. The Universe vests, I do them slightly different. They have the same exact look, but they were actually kind of doing hack jobs, and I didn't like the way they did it. I take the pocket all the way off and add the M4 pouch and do the whole thing. So when it's done, it looks exactly the same. But yeah, I mean, these vests change so much. People don't really wrap their brain around it. And a medic utility, early on, like the one I have that, you know, Amanda and RDA had, you know, they had the little tiny tags, you know, and they kept those vests for years. It wasn't until like season 8, 9, I think season 9, Jackson finally got a new vest. I'm trying to remember which episode it was. I think it was one of them where I know for sure we saw the new vest when him and Cam were messing with the prior. And they had that device that took away his powers. And
we took the liberty of borrowing a sample of your blood. Hope you don't mind.
You looking for this?
Whoa! No! It's not gonna work.
That warm, fuzzy feeling you're experiencing may be the effects of a device that's inhibiting your ability to concentrate and focus your powers.
Symptoms may include dizziness, irritability,
Nausea.
mild nausea, and a condition known as hot dog finger.
hot dog fingers and all that. That was one of the first episodes I think we saw where Mike had a new vest. The snaps, that's another thing. The old ones, the snaps were on the outside, and they went on the inside, and it was a clean flap, much like this one. This is one a guy sent back to me for a mod for the P90 harness, and probably at this particular time I was out of snaps or whatnot, and I was really having some sourcing issues with snaps for a while, and so I'm gonna upgrade his snaps and then add his integration for his harness. But those snaps, they put them on the inside, so then you gotta cut the pocket open, pop them out, and then I punch them all the way through, reset them, and then extend the pocket for the radio. So gotta always have one of these laying around so you can test fit your pocket. But basically that pocket you want about 9.5 inches from the bottom to the tip of the flap. That'll give you enough to do a full wrap, and you can close your radio pocket up with your Vizar in there. This one doesn't have a battery, so it's nice, and half of them don't. Most people just get the radio. Then we just add the loop and put a little gaffer's tape on it and make it look Hollywood. So the only thing more rare than a old school Medic utility is the slim battery for one of these. So you can't even get them anymore. They did start making this sweet lithium ion. I sold a few, and then all of a sudden the supplier dried up and he says he can't get any more. So off topic, but still Stargate. Sam's combat bracelet. Hers looks very slim and not bulky like the paracord. Is it one of the bungee blousing straps with a button? Close. What it was the blousing straps out of BDU pants, because those blousers suck. So they pulled them out, and then back then they were using a BDU button and the blouser straps out of the bottom of the pants. It wasn't the bungee that you're thinking of. I actually have a whole bag of them I've been saving up. I need to find somebody that is willing to sit there and learn to do some weaving. And why don't you do that, Jen? I'll send you some supplies, and you figure out how to make those. I know it's online somewhere. My wife hasn't had time. Basically, it's the tan blousing strap out of the deserts, and then the green ones, and they did a weaving together. But you're correct, it is not paracord. They had paracord back then, but they hadn't really done it. It's that flat tape. I probably got a pair of pants around here somewhere. Maybe not. Don't see any off the top here. Well, without tearing into something. You get the idea. So, yeah, friendship bracelets. Give me the pattern, I can do it. Well, you look up the pattern. I don't have time. I have all this to do. So, but people have been requesting them over the years, and I'd like to be able to offer them once in a while. So if anybody knows how to do the friendship bracelets, why don't you post that up and send Jen a link or something. Joe, have a good night, brother. Take it easy. Good talking to you. So back to our vest. Are we done? No, we're not done. We got off track. See, this is what happens. So donor vest. All right. So I got an old Gen 1 shepherd vest here, and it's backwards because our camera's backwards, so it looks like a lefty. But we'll talk a little bit about Atlantis vest real quick. So shepherds had the removable flaps. There we go. This is a Gen 3. This is weird. Scraps of a weird vest, but see it squared off, and these were removable. The Velcro way down in here. If you look at the difference, see how this one's rounded and it's trimmed? See the difference? That was the big change from Gen 0 to Gen 1, basically. We ended up calling these Gen 1 and Gen 2, but then we found some that were even older, so our numbers were a little off track from the beginning. But all the Atlantis vests were Gen 2 and Gen 3. Now the difference between those, this is your standard Shepherd, Taylor, Beckett, and McKay had too many vests to go into right now. This is your Gen 2 pad. The early ones didn't even have pads. They were just mesh. So then the Gen 3 came out. And you can see the difference here. Ugh, this is fun. So we had the standard pad with it's got a piece of hard tubing. I think it's basically to keep the buttstock of your weapon from slipping off the side. Then they went to this Gen 3, so it had all these rows of padding, and then Blackhawk is embossed into it. That was covered up with webbing, and then you have to sew a single stitch between the fourth and third separation. So Gen 3, Weir, and Carter. Sam ended up getting Weir's old vest. A lot of people don't realize that, but we pretty much proved it with all the mods that were done. So again, back to the back panel. So we want this nice back panel with the old style webbing on the back, and then we need these flaps. We don't have the flaps. So the flaps are very crucial to the conversion. So we need to take those off. Now, if it's a Atlantis vest, the D-rings stay. If it's a SG1 vest, then they're just going to be replaced with clips. So we want to take and remove the flaps, and then we want to separate this back panel to become our donor for the Elite conversion. So this is our donor vest. Now, donor vest can run you 30 to 50 bucks any day of the week, and you need that old school Blackhawk. But fortunately, any of the Blackhawk vests will work. This is another pain in the butt to get started. Let's get these flaps off. Once you get them going, they usually come off pretty good. So again, knowing your way around a razor blade helps, and not having any bleeding involved usually makes for a better night. So of course you need one of these cast iron monsters to put all this back together, but there we go. We're going to need those. So then you can see where it's conjoined with the Velcro and the just standard mesh, and we'll end up hot knifing that just like we did before. So then I usually throw it all in a box and we end up putting it together tonight. So we're just going to prep it tonight. And, is there any more no bleeding during crafts? As always, yeah, I'll tell you what, when I did that, I went bled for, I didn't think it was going to stop. I was ready to get out the super glue and do the old Vietnam trick, but cleaned it up and wrapped the crap out of it. But it took me out of commission for cutting and sewing for a few days. Yeah, I nicked the tip of my finger when I was an airman back in like '92, and I really hadn't cut myself other than just a little poke here and there in like 20 some years. That body camera for that police officer vest, that one got me. I was too tired. I shouldn't have been working, but I was trying to get it done. Alright, so those are done. Now, since this is a old Gen 1 or Gen 0, whatever you want to call it, we're never really going to end up using this vest. This was one of the reasons I bought it. So, but you can salvage a lot of parts. You got 2 breast pockets, you got belt loop retainers, which are nice. There was this guy on eBay for like a year selling vests, and every vest he sold, these freaking things were cut off. So a lot of the vests were in nice shape, but every time I bought one, it had no belt loops on it. So, but that's another thing. The Elite, when you cut off the back panel, you can rob the belt retainers off there. Now these ones with the hot top pad here, these get a little thick to cut, so it's always good to have fan going. Don't breathe that crap. Melting nylon can't be good for you. Even though we did a research thing on it in San Diego back in the 90s, the results came back as nothing wrong with it. but we didn't believe him. So, there is our donor. Now remember what I was talking about the width. This is where it gets tricky. I'm going to show you guys what I have to deal with here, if I can get proper lighting. So I'm going to line up that one edge. You can see it's probably about a 1/2 inch wider. Just a little bit over here. So by dropping those radio pockets, because we're going to pull them off, drop them, then that allows me to creep down a little bit further. But you also have to take into account how big your customer is when you're lining this stuff up. Like when I did Jen's, I didn't want to take out too much because she's fairly tall, and plus we did a Carter mod on hers, and that was a half job and a half because you got up down the back. Oh, those are a ton of work. You made me pull mine out of the closet and look. What are you looking at, Clark? Man, I think I did yours some years ago, so there might be a few. See, that's the thing. I've continually gotten better, and I feel bad for the people that had the earlier vests, because some of them probably aren't some of my best work. Or, you know, I didn't have snaps or whatever, but we got lots of snaps now, lots of good tools. How long does it take to make one? A full conversion? Usually 5 to 7 hours, depending on distractions and whatnot. If I'm sewing, you know, I'm in the zone, start to finish, 5-6 hours. Are you really questioning the results in the Navy research on health hazards from nylon fumes? Yes, I am, Chief. Yeah, it was the, what was it? I can't, see, I've been out so long I can't even remember. Occupational health. We had to wear these little boxes on our belts that had bubbling water in them like a fish tank, and then we had these little sensors. So we were supposed to do like normal exposure. So yeah, we didn't do that. We held the sensor right over the webbing cutter, and we were like burning. I mean, one of the chief, our division chief, walked in one day, and there was smoke about 5 feet thick from the ceiling. He's like, "What in the world?" So even after we did all that, it came back negative. So I'm pretty sure that those tests were skewed. So there we go. Donor panel. Now see, this has already got the grommets, so this side's good to go. So you just need a set of draw cords and the stops, and then we got to do the grommets here. And that's another thing too to keep an eye out for. Most of your vests are always going to have 6 grommets. If you ever find one with 7, then you have a husky. And then when you go back and look at your little tag, there will be a number. Now see, this one's got a 3 because the Shepherd vest is a 03. So it'd be 30 Victor 03 BK. I always have to think about it. If it's tan, then they do DS for desert. So there's a lot to learn about the vests. They get very confusing. There's a lot out there. Clark never had any reason to complain with your work. I just got fat. Oh yeah, that happens. So that you need a husky. No, I've had made the, you know, that, and that's the sweet part about it. You know, over the years I've gotten to do some really cool mods. One of my real early ones for a Shepherd mod was for an Asian gal, and she was like 105 pounds soaking wet. So I ended up having to take it in and do that Taylor mod and remove those 2 mag pouches to reduce the circumference of the vest totally so it fit her. She was swimming in it. So after I did it, and I didn't even have any vests at that point. It was just screen caps and looking to see what production had done and a lot of guessing. But I was pretty close. I figured it out, and got her vest done, and fit her perfect. So then I had a buddy that he was on the bigger side, and so we had to add in some. Now with the elites, that gets even trickier, making them bigger, because the more you go out, the more that tapers in, and so it gets tricky. I kind of do a patch now, and I attach it on both sides if needed, and then we rotate those flaps forward, because they're just going to be too far back if it's a bigger guy. And I can't even fit into a standard vest. I got a 52-inch chest, so after about 48 inches, you're going to be lucky to zip it up. But I can, even on my thinner days, I could zip it up, but the problem was the vest was riding up so high. It was like that far above my belt. So basically, the bigger you are on your chest, it pulls that vest up. So you need to extend it to bring it down to that proper waist level, so you can get that pistol belt right over the top of your standard belt. So by doing that, and over the years, I figured out how to do the mods and make them bigger, make them smaller. And then about 3-4 years ago, I had a guy in Colorado wanted a O'Neill vest for his 10-year-old son. Well, he was smaller than 105 pounds, so that took some work. We ended up removing the belly pockets, because on a standard medic, basically they get bigger. So I removed the belly pockets, because these are like 12 inches. And Blackhawk actually sells what they call strike pouches, and it's basically the same as this pouch right here. It just has some Velcro on it. So I removed the belly pockets, and I replaced them with these. By doing that, that alleviated all this material here, and then we were able to take the vest way in for him. It was still big on him. We had to do S-folds in the shoulder and whatnot, but he's going to be able to wear that vest till he's probably out of high school. And it'll continue to adjust out with the cords and releasing the S-folds as he gets taller. And so, yeah, you can grow out of them, but it depends where you were at to begin with and how the vest was set up. If you were borderline to begin with and put on some weight, yeah, it's probably not going to fit correctly. But I can fix that. So, but that is how we do a conversion prep. So we've cut off the back panel, removed all the straps, removed our front buckles, and then we separated our donor vest back, and then now you've got about 4 or 5 hours of sewing to reassemble, lowering the pockets, notching it for the radio, adding the shoulder clips, and doing all those proper mods. But you gotta take into account who the vest for every single time. And I try to make sure that one of these guys, he's like 6 foot, 180. I mean, that's textbook. So that's going to fit him like a champ. We're not really going to have to do anything, or no alter mods, but punching these holes and lining the grommets up and getting those set correctly. It's a lot of hammering and pounding. I have an Instagram question. I still prefer the original SG1 vest the first 8 seasons. Oh yeah, everybody did, but again, things change. Mainly it was just the compass pouches and the tags. Other than that, they pretty much didn't change. I've picked up a few here. Last year I found a guy that had like 4 brand new ones. He still had the tags on them. Those were gone in like 2 weeks. So yeah, finding one, that is definitely not easy to do. So hey, I got a guy over here on Instagram. That's awesome. You're like the only one that's been on here. Everybody's been on Facebook. So I'm trying to do both. That was a recommendation from the guys over there at Video Influencers. So, but yeah, if anybody's got any other questions or comments, whatever. Vests are very complicated, but I've done hundreds of them by now over the past 10 years. So I'm getting pretty good at them. I think we've nailed just about everything down as far as the vests. Hopefully we don't see any more changes. If they ended up eliminating the Blackhawk Medic vest, then that will be a problem. So, Facebook better. Yeah, okay, Jen. Facebook better. I've been watching Scott on Instagram, so, you know, hey. But, yeah, I mean, who knows what the future holds. I mean, the conversation with the MGM consultant was very positive. There's lots more things I want to talk about, but I can't yet. So, but all I'm going to say is MGM, I don't feel, is done with Stargate. Now, what that holds for the future, I have no idea. But I definitely want to be involved. So, that's the plan. So, I just saw something else I haven't noticed in a while. But just like the radio pockets, looky here. Snaps on the outside, snaps on the inside. So they're constantly changing stuff. So it's back to that attention to detail and trying to pick up all the little mistakes and changes and making that work. So well, I'm gonna end this on Instagram because thanks for watching. Done. Let's see how that works out. I'm sorely depressed knowing it's not around anymore. I'm still up for janitor if it means, right? I always told Drew, hey man, I'll sweep out the prop truck. I don't care. So even when they started talking about possibly more Green Lantern, yeah. So who knows? I'm hoping. I mean, 17 is my lucky number, so I'm hoping 2017 opens the doors for a few more things. I've gotten a call about a boxing movie and possibly even having to travel overseas to help out with that. I know the guy personally, so he knows some of my experience and wants me involved and helping out with extras and whatnot. So probably assistant AD type thing. So, but we're hoping for more Stargate, and I'm hoping I can talk more about stuff here in the near future. And I think they'll come up with something. Joe Malazzi just had a post on an interview. I gotta go back and find that. I saw it on my phone. I breezed through it real quick, but you know, he was even up for more Stargate. So I think some of those old writers would even come back. Yeah, more Jack and Sam. I don't know about that. What I would like to see is a wrap-up of Universe that segues into a new show. Basically, new SGC. The gate's been moved. It's no longer in Cheyenne Mountain. Even an Alpha site or whatever. But new SGC, new Stargate Command. And then, you know, maybe we could get a cameo from RDA at Homeworld. You know, they'll have to rent the sign from me because I've got the sign. But, yeah, so that would be cool. And then, you know, segue into a new show. Bringing David Blue back, for sure. He's lost all the weight. He's thinner now. That would be the perfect, you know, to add to the show. Oh, he survived, but, you know, he barely got a pod working or whatever. Took him a few years to get back, but he was able to do whatever. You know, have him, I'm sure he'd come back to the show for sure. And then you could bring some of these people back. Being traumatic as Universe was, you can easily write it off that Colonel Young, TJ, Greer, all of them retired from the military, or they left the Stargate program. because they were like, no more. But anybody that wasn't really working, they could easily have a new job. But you'd have to see a new team, new system, you know. You got to bring back Walter, you know. There's definitely some things that would have to happen, but you're talking ways down the road. That's a lot of prep, a lot of deals, a lot of handshakes, and a lot of money. So till MGM and Spyglass is ready to whip out their checkbook, I don't see that happening. But I think there should be something coming up in the next few years. So, but I think I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to be doing some Shepherd headsets tomorrow, and I got to start on some. I got a couple of Zat holsters I need to finish. So, yep. Man, this thing still stinks. That should have cured a long time ago. But yeah, this is one of the old rubber stunt ones. So, but get some Zat holsters done, and then I got some X-wing harnesses, and then all my backlog here are vests. So, plastic smell, no paint smell. But well, I think we got up to 7 or 8 at one point. There's only 3 of you left, so I'm gonna call it a night and say thank you. Thanks for watching. Tune in for more. And leave in the comments below if you guys want to see something or talk about something. Let me know. Happy to go over stuff. The more you're informed, the more you know.
That was a lot about tack vests. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And always remember, Stitch's Loft for your out of this world prop and costume needs.